Hello and welcome to this very special look at the Alpha 7 Mark V. I've been working in conjunction with London Camera Exchange, who are a fantastic retailer with 26 stores nationwide. And I want to talk to you just for a little while about the A7 Mark V. Although before I start, I should point out in the background, I have Pete, who you may recognize from their social channels, who is going to moderate the chat. In addition to that, we have exclusive offers just for you. So if you follow the link, which Pete will post at some point later on, you'll be able to get discounts off Sony cameras and Sony lenses. And we also have an introductory offer on GM Mark IIs when bought with the A7 Mark V. I will crack on, but if you do have any questions, please do interact. There is a reason why we're doing this live at 7 p.m. on a weeknight. It's so that I can talk to you. But without any further ado, I will crack on. One thing that I want to tell you about is I went out with Pete this week. Well, not this week, week before last. And we got to really try the camera out. And this camera is totally new. And I'll try and explain what I mean by that. We have a new sensor, a new processor, and a new body shape, which includes the new screen. So we have a 33 megapixel partially stacked sensor. I will come back to that. A new processor that's never been in a Sony camera before. And the body has been modified. So we've added the screen, which you may be familiar with from an A9 Mark III or an A1 Mark II, so premium. Double the resolution of the previous screen. It's really a revolution rather than an evolution. It's totally new. And we're hoping that this camera, if you're a hybrid photographer, videographer, this is going to really appeal to you. So it's still 33 megapixels, but you have to totally understand this is a completely new sensor. It's not something that we've put into a camera before. It's a partially stacked sensor. What do we mean by that and what are the benefits? So round the edge of the CMOS sensor is a large frame, and that is capable of reading data from the sensor 4.5 times faster than the previous A7 Mark III. Incredible speed. And that allows us to do 33 megapixels. Now, to do that, you need a really good processor. So we have the XR2 processor, our Bionz XR2, first time it's ever been seen in one of our cameras. And this does two great things. Number one, it recognizes your subject, but number two, it combines a Bionz XR processor with an AI processing unit. Now, that might be jargon to most people, but previously we've had our AI processing unit, which has been in A1 Mark II, A9 Mark III, A7CR, A7C2, A6700. I'm missing one, but I can't remember what it is because I don't use notes. But this can recognize where your eyes, your face, and your pose is. So it will recognize a human and track them. If I'm walking through a forest or something like that, it can estimate where my face is going to be and make sure it tracks accurately. And in addition to that, it can do animals' eyes, bodies, and heads. Same for birds. It can recognize insects' heads. It can recognize insects' bodies. It can recognize planes, trains, and automobiles. And that's a good time of year to watch that film, by the way. It's two independent processing units, though. The XR processor, the AI processing unit, combined into one. So we get great benefits. Not only is communication faster, it's also more power efficient. So using the LCD screen, we get 750 shots CPA rated. And CPA rated is quite a hard testing mechanism. They turn the camera on, they wait 30 seconds, they take a photo, they wait another 30 seconds, they take another photo, they repeat the process. And when you get to 10 shots, they turn the camera off and repeat the process. Not how you would normally shoot images. So what I'm trying to say is you will probably get a lot more than 750 shots from this camera. But in addition to that, combining it into one unit, less power consumption. So if you're into portraits and you're at a wedding, you're getting extra battery life for shooting stills. you will also get extra time when recording video. So if you're shooting in 40 degrees heat, previously the A7 Mark IV might turn off after just 10 minutes in intense heat, depending on whether you folded the screen out or not. This will now do at least 60 minutes, we hope. So by this new XR2 processor, fantastic power, heat, speed, brilliant. And that new stack sensor, that 33 megapixel stack sensor, will give us incredibly high frame rate. So we can now shoot 30 frames per second with this camera. That's not for everybody. You might want to be shooting 10 frames per second. Say you're a portrait photographer at a wedding and you get to either what influencers call the confetti moment, people throwing confetti and there's a kiss. You can do two things. You can have speed boost, where you have a custom key set to increase the shooting speed of the camera from, well, whatever frame rate you want. It might be 5 frames per second up to 30 frames per second. It might be 10 frames per second to 20. You can have a custom key where uninterrupted, you can shoot and capture every single second. We also have pre-capture, which again is something you would only have seen on our premium cameras. So you might be watching a bird and waiting for it to dive into the water. It's a very, very split second that you get to take those pictures. So you can set up pre-capture to be continuously buffering up to 30 frames per second with full autofocus, with full auto exposure. And you hit the shutter button and it's customizable. It can be anything from 0.03 seconds all the way up to a second. It's continuously buffering. When you press that shutter button, it captures all the shots that are in the buffer. So you never miss that moment. So really, really, really high-end stuff that we've only previously put on the A1 Mark II, the A9 Mark III, now in what the Tokyo called it the basic model. It's not basic. That's why our tagline now is Beyond Basics. It's a really effective way of shooting. I'm not very fast. I'm used to the days of DSLR, and in 2013, we tried to change the market. Back in 2013, we launched the first mirrorless full-frame camera. Do you remember these prisms, which used to go inside a DSLR? Now, fully electronic, we get real benefits, and that is speed. But this is the first time that we've put it into what Tokyo would call a basic model. We can also, for the first time as well, do 14-bit RAW in both electronic and mechanical shutter. And I should also say, this still has a mechanical shutter. It will shoot 10 frames per second with a mechanical shutter, but it means that you have the option of using a variety of different flashes. I'd love you to use Sony's, but there are other options on the market. And in addition to that, we have more dynamic range. Now, this is the first time we've used a semi-stacked sensor with our cameras, and they can get stick. By stick, I mean criticism for dynamic range. This has one extra stop of dynamic range. So it's now 16 stops of dynamic range compared to an Alpha 7 IV. And in addition to that, we've improved the image stabilization for low light shooting. By the way, thank you for saying it's not. I've just seen the chat. I can't look down because my camera's up here and my laptop's down here. Thank you for not saying it's basic, Chris. Yeah, it's now got 7.5 steps of image stabilization at the center of the sensor, but SEPA have recently changed their ratings of how you do image stabilization. So we now have to quote it at the edge of the sensor. So it's 6.5 steps at the edge of the sensor. And we've also introduced active dynamic image stabilization when shooting video, whereas the predecessor didn't have that. So less need for a gimbal. Design-wise, I should try and show you some of the stuff that I've set up. Design-wise, we now have 2 USB-C ports. One is a 3.2 super fast 3.2 10 gigabits per second port. One is a standard USB 2.0 port. That's 480 megabits per second. Basically, you can use one port for tethering to your laptop. So if you're using a third-party editing software, I'm thinking Lightroom or Capture One, that sort of thing, then you can have a super fast USB 3.2 connection whilst at the same time doing PD or power delivery USB 2 power into the camera. So constant streaming. I keep thinking about things on the fly whilst I'm talking about constant streaming. It also acts as a 4K webcam. The A7 Mark IV could do 15 frames at 4K as a webcam. That's stuttery. That's not enough. This can now do the full 30p 4K USB web streaming. So great for influencers, content creators, people who want to share their ideas live online. I'm not doing this right now. I'm using an Alpha 6400, but it's perfectly good enough for this, is it not? We also have made accessibility improvements. So it also has a louder speaker on it, but you can change the volume. There's 5 different steps. Well, 6 actually if you include silent of volume. So if you want to use screen reader where the camera reads out to you, what's the question? Has it got HDMI? Yes, it's got full-size HDMI, and I hate micro HDMI. I shouldn't say that on the stream, but yes, it has got proper HDMI. Thank you for the questions, by the way. Really appreciate it. But yeah, I was saying about the speaker. It's louder than an Alpha 7 Mark IV, and it has, if you include mute, 6 different steps of volume. So maybe you're shooting in a quiet environment like a gallery. You can then set it to a really low volume, but still have the reassurance of that electronic shutter noise. It's very, very, very new. There are features on this camera that don't feature in our flagship models. So really geeky things, and you probably don't need to know this, but I haven't seen it online anywhere. There's also customizable iCup views. So you can customize it so that you can choose which settings you see in the viewfinder. And yeah, this is new. This is special. I don't know if I'm running. Oh, sorry, I should talk about video. Of course, video. With video, the Alpha 7 Mark IV could shoot 60p, but with whatever you want to call it, an APS-C crop, a super 35mm crop. This will now do full 60p 4K full frame. It does have the option, though, that if you do want to do the crop, APS-C, super 35mm, whatever you want to call it, it can do 120 frames per second in 4K. So it's really, really versatile. And this, again, it's aimed at the hybrid photographer, the sort of person that's going to go out and shoot stills, shoot video. We do specialist models like our FX range or like our Venice range, which are very much video-based. This is for the person who wants to do a bit of everything. Thank you very much, Chris. Yes, I'm a big fan of the fact that we can now do half-time slow motion. So if you're a wedding photographer, and some people might have this as a secondary camera, they might have an Alpha 9 Mark III and go to this as their B cam. Yes, we can shoot 60p. You can slow down by 50%. So cinematic looking slow motion. It's got a lot. Now I knew I was going to get this question, Chris. Open gate. So I never talk down the competition. This camera is designed to be the perfect hybrid camera, and the sensor is designed to be that way. Now, one thing I will bring up, excuse me. This camera can shoot 30 frames per second, blackout free. And I'll explain that. Blackout free means I don't see a difference between taking a picture and not taking a picture. Alpha 7 Mark IV, when I was shooting with that continuously, I would see the last shot I took. This partially stacked sensor is designed so that if I'm shooting, the only way I know I've taken a photo is either I see a banding box around the shot or I get an audio noise. There are other people who've used partially stacked sensors who have been designed differently, where at 40 frames per second, you still get blackout. We don't with this. So this has been designed to be the perfect hybrid camera of being able to do 4K, 60p, 30 frames per second, but without having that blackout in between the shots. I don't know if you've ever played with an A7 Mark IV. When you're panning, this camera is perfect for wildlife because I can track anything perfectly. Same with sports. Other cameras, yes, can do open gate, but you see the last shot you've just taken, and it makes tracking much, much harder. And it's all down to sensor design. It's all down to sensor design. So we make more expensive cameras which will do more things, but yeah. This camera is designed to be the balance between open gate, 4K video, 30 frames per second, just continuous shooting, no issues. I'm trying to think if there's anything I'm not showing you. One thing that I should mention as well, Sony are currently sponsoring Photographer of the Year with London Camera Exchange. This is a free-to-entry competition with a £10,000 prize fund, and there's my friend Angela Nicholson. We will exhibit this. I don't know who those other companies are. Forget that. We will exhibit this at the photography show next year. One other thing that I'd like to direct your attention to is we also, I'm going to press the right button, the Sony Alpha Universe website, which is where this was advertised. You can find loads and loads more information about what we're doing, real photographers' stories on that website. Does anybody have any more questions? I'm trying to think if I've covered everything. I should have really got an auto cue or done something with notes, but the only thing I can think of that I've not told you about is we also have a new mode, which is monitor auto low brightness, where previously you'd have two sleep modes with the camera. One, the camera completely goes to sleep. The second one, the LCD screen turns off. We've also now added an extra mode where you can set the camera to anything up to 20 seconds, automatically dim the brightness of the monitor. That's also new and again extends your battery life. Oh, and Wi-Fi connectivity. I'm sure you know the latest version of Wi-Fi is 802.11ax security. We've added that to the camera, but more importantly, previously we had on the A7 Mark IV one CISO Wi-Fi antenna, single input, single output. We've now changed that to two MIMO, multiple input, multiple output antennas, so you get really stable connection. So if you are shooting on Wi-Fi, and again, I should have mentioned that, it's 6 gigahertz Wi-Fi compatible, which is double the bandwidth of 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. It's super stable Wi-Fi connectivity. So maybe you're shooting tethered to a laptop, maybe you're at an event and you're shooting FTP to a server. Really, really reliable Wi-Fi. I think Pete's putting the details now on Photographer of the Year. Does anybody? Oh, okay. Well, it's a good point, James. I've just seen your comment. The key thing is this: A7 Mark IV will continue. I should say Alpha 7 Mark IV. I'll get in trouble for Tokyo for that. It's still going to be there, so we can provide an entry level. A7 Mark III will continue for a certain amount of time. Again, I should have said Alpha 7 Mark III. It's offering a model which is great for not the basics, but if you look at the R models, their resolution, you look at the S models, their sensitivity, you look at the A9, it's probably sports because of the 120 frames per second. You look at the A1, it's maybe reportage, maybe sports, but we're not going to stop making the Alpha 7 Mark IV anytime soon. it just offers all those extra features, which maybe that's going to get you excited. Does that make sense? Oh, pre-capture as well. I shot some stuff with Pete. What was it? 2 weeks ago? I don't know. It's really, really good. So pre-capture, you hold down a custom button on the back of the camera, and it's full. And one thing I didn't mention, the Alpha 7 Mark V takes a focus reading and an exposure reading 60 times every second. So it's continuously doing that. And then the second you press the shutter button down, 0.03 seconds for me, I'm slow. That's not enough for me, but I can buffer up to a second, and then based on my frame rate, I can continue shooting afterwards. So it's and speed boost as well. You hold down a custom key, and it changes the frame rate from whatever you want to whatever you want. So the obvious one would be 5 frames per second to 30 frames per second. It's totally customizable, like so much with these cameras. And don't forget, we have so many lenses available in this mirrorless range. I can't even, I can't even show you, 80 odd lenses. It's, we're in a really good position. I think. You tell me if you think differently, but I do appreciate you joining this evening. Does anybody have any other questions? I have to confess, I live in Manchester, and Sony is based in Weybridge, so I am very much safe up here in the north, James. So I don't know where you're based. Feel free to tell me, but I feel free to show you all this kit. And where are you based, James? You're still in the chat. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. 6767. Well, Pete, have you got anything to add before I finish? The main thing is we do have codes for genuine discounts for this event. As a manufacturer, I'm not allowed to talk about. Oh, Luz, good Lord, I'm surprised you got internet. We do have genuine discounts for this event. And this is the first time we've done one of these with London Camera Exchange. It's probably the first time we've done one of these with anybody. If you get tempted, there are 26 stores nationwide. Speak to your local. Sorry, James, it's making me laugh. Feel free to speak to your local store. There's 26 nationwide. There's the website. Pete will have a code to get secret discounts and a secret page on the LCE website, which won't be shared generally. Please do, if you feel the need. It's Christmas. Treat yourself. You deserve it. But if there's nothing else, here's my little V3, which I think was when I first joined at 2004. I hope you enjoy this evening. Thank you, Pete. Thank you. That's brilliant. Yeah. So 10%. There's also, it's worth saying, and this is only until the end of December, because I know this is going to get recorded, there is the opportunity to save on G Master 2 lenses. So if you were to buy an Alpha 7 Mark V with the G Master 2, currently there's a £100 saving on G Master Mark II. If you do a when bought with a camera, there's a lot of additional savings. I would highly recommend speaking to your local London Camera Exchange, or not even local, on the internet. But hopefully this has been useful to you. And if it's all right, I'm going to go have my tea. I think I'll end it there.